Hello and welcome. So this, I know the trailer came out a while ago, but this is my breakdown of the Fast X trailer. So the first thing we see is obviously the house. Now, of course, the house did blow up at the end of, well, at the beginning of Furious 7. I think it may have been rebuilt. I think that's where they were in F9. I could be wrong, but anyway. As you can see from Furious 7, they've rebuilt the house almost exactly how it was. And I guess this makes sense. Obviously, they didn't blow up the house in real life. I hope not. So, of course, it wouldn't have really changed. Next up, we see the scene. And, of course, they are all, having, well, I wouldn't really be supper. I guess it would just be a lunch, I guess. Obviously, here we can see, Dom is, of course, still with that classic Toretto shirt. We get a shot of Roman and Tej. As you can see, Tej's hair is slightly different. Roman looks exactly the same. We get Ramsey on the right, and of course Han, since Han is now back. I absolutely hate that. Now, I would like someone to explain this to me, please, because I have no idea who this woman is. I'm guessing it's supposed to be Dom's mum. I have absolutely no idea. So then after that, we of course get Dom, in the garage with his car. And then we have a picture. Oh wow, we have an image. I can't really see who that is, but I'm assuming that's supposed to be him and Brian. Then of course we have, a couple of shots of Dom driving, because of course, he's Dominic Toretto. And we can see Brian looks a lot older than he did in F9. Yes. So there's something I want to say, is that I actually really liked F9. I haven't rewatched it. However, I really enjoyed it when I did watch it. So yeah, right? We have the Universal. Obviously, the Universal logo is in the exact same kind of way that the X in Fast X is in the logo. So we get this wide shot. Now, I have no idea where any of these shooting locations are. And this is where we have Jason Momoa basically saying, Dominic Toretto, you have this family, blah, blah, blah. I didn't get it. And here we can see that Dom has walked into this room of all of these screens. So clearly, I'm assuming this is Jason Momoa, has done all of this research. Now, I've completely forgotten what Jason Momoa's name in the movie is. But am I the only one that thinks that this place looks very similar to Malta? I purely know what Malta looks like because of Jurassic World Dominion. So we get, Tej and Roman hugging. We see Brian and Letty. Obviously, since, Elena is dead. Now we are back in Rio. And of course, this is where we get Jason Momoa's backstory. So we have, them taking the money and everything. And he actually gets knocked into the water. Now, I have absolutely no idea as to whether or not that actually did happen in Fast 5. Like, one of the cars got hit like that. So here we have Jason Momoa, and I have no idea who these people are, but clearly it doesn't matter. He licks the knife, which is... he's clearly going to get some sort of disease. And he just stands like this Christ-like figure. Now, obviously, Dom, I'm pretty sure, is supposed to be like the Christ-like figure of the movies, like of that group. And seeing the villain stand like this is kind of interesting, because he is supposed to be like the opposite, so he's supposed to be like the villain. Anyway, I know nothing about Christ, leave me alone, please. Anyway, so we have this part, right, of these winds. Now, I have no idea what's creating these winds. My guess is that a building is falling, right? And of course, the impact is gonna make them all move. Now, this is where, well, we see Brie Larson. Anyway, I have no idea who her character is, but I'll get to that later. This is a quick part of Brian being taken once again. And here we have John Cena. I'm very happy that John Cena is back. Because I actually did like his character in F9. And of course we have a car exploding, Letty, and they are racing. Or this is a chase scene. My guess is, oh wait, no, this is definitely from the race we see later on. So there's that. Obviously, there is Dom with his famous, little cross on the chain. Then here, now I know nothing about WWE or wrestling in general, but this, you can see John Cena slams the guy through the floor. And apparently this is one of his iconic wrestling moves. So that's pretty cool, I guess. So there's that. And we get one of the coolest quotes, honestly, is Jason Momoa saying, never accept death when suffering is owed. Now, I honestly forgot what his name is in the movie, but we have this giant ball just like crashing around the place. It takes out a bus and everything. Now, something I found really exciting was this. Obviously, this is the bridge from Fast 5 in Rio, and this is completely new. This is a brand new battle, and I'm so excited. It just looks so cool. It just looks awesome. Now this guy, I don't know his name, but from what I've heard, he is now in charge of Mr. Nobody's company. Don't ask me why that is. I have no idea who this guy is, but apparently that's who he is. Right. So they are being held not really held captive, but they're held at gunpoint. So no idea who that is. It's not like it's anything new. And of course, we have the race. Even though, right, I'm going to be honest, I am not a car guy. Right? I was never a car guy. I'm never going to be a car guy. So I freaking hated the first 3 Fast and Furious films. I absolutely hated them because I found them boring as hell. However, obviously in 4, that's when they actually developed something called a story. So I actually, got involved. Now, even though, I don't really care about the racing and stuff, I did actually miss it because the opening of The Fate of the Furious is my favorite opening from the entire franchise. But, still, obviously, seeing just the setting was just so nice to see again. Now, this guy that Dom is hugging, he is actually from Fast 5. He is returning from Fast 5. Because I'm assuming this is also in Rio. I forgot the guy's name, but he's basically the guy who says car for car. So, yeah, it's good that he's back. So there's that, and of course, this is very, very similar to when Dwayne Johnson and Vin Diesel were in that scene, in Fast 5. And they were just like, it's not worth it, just back off. However, here, obviously, there is no shot at peace. Now, they are going to end up racing somehow, for some reason. I don't really think it's going to be a valid reason. They just honestly want to race. So, yeah, Jason Momoa giving more threats, blah, blah, blah. And Dom just saying, let's race, gave me chills. I was so happy. Now, this. No one is talking about this. Am I the only one that is seeing a similarity in this setting? This looks exactly like the ending of Fast and Furious, the 4th movie. It looks exactly like the place where the final, like where Dom killed that guy, who obviously made Letty lose her memory and stuff. I'm pretty sure that's where this is. I think it is the exact same location we see John Cena launching some missiles. I think that it is the exact same place. And of course, seeing Deckard once again. Deckard, honestly, I think is my favorite character from the entire franchise. Now, something that a lot of people missed was he was actually in F9. He was at the end in a post-credit scene. And he was beating up some guy talking about like some sort of drive, I think it was. But basically, that wasn't the point of the story. The point was that Han showed up at his door. Deckard just was shocked. And then the scene ended. And I was so happy to see Deckard back. And just this, these two talking to each other was so cool to see. However, one thing I did not like about F9 was just how they completely retconned Han's death. Because I thought that Deckard killing Han was one of the best things in the franchise. Not to make it sound like I dislike Han. I did like him. It's just that I liked how his death was done. And I like the idea of Deckard, you know, wanting to kill the whole team for, you know, fucking up his brother. But I don't know. It's just the thought of them working together is really, really cool. So, of course, we have a lot more shots of them driving. And then we get Brie Larson kicking some ass. And, you know, Letty is like, game recognized game. And you know what? Say what you want about Brie Larson. She is damn good looking. Anyway, so we have who is that? Is that Tej? We have Tej being a badass once again. You know, now this is something I've seen a lot of people talk about. Is this was one of the best stunts? People saying it's the simpler stunts that impressed them more, and I agree. This was friggin' awesome. Now I think this is Letty from what I can see. That's definitely Letty. Even this looks like Dominion as well. So once again, for like the 8 millionth time, Brian is being held captive. And of course, just, you know, as a callback to Furious 7, we have Dom driving out of a plane. Now, unlike Furious 7, this wasn't from that high, right? This wasn't that high up. And of course, he lands on the cars. And his car appears to be, you know, mostly fine. It's just the back that's a bit scuffed up. And of course, somehow the physics don't work for him. I'm guessing it was just the, you know, the pressure of the car pulling down. Like when the car came down like this, it obviously just pulled the two helicopters together. So yeah, I mean, that's cool. And then obviously we get the Fast X logo. Now, this kind of looks like a headlight. Right, I think that's what they were going for. It looks like a headlight. So even though, yes, it does look very futuristic and very sci-fi-esque, it is definitely more headlight than like people think it is. That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, here we have Cypher and Letty in some kind of lab. Now, what I have heard, people theorizing, is terrible. I really hope that they don't get their faces swapped in this scene. Of course, the end of the road begins. Now, one thing I want to talk about is who the hell Brie Larson is, right, in this film. I have heard two options. One, she's Brian's sister, or two, she is Cypher's sister. I personally believe this is Cypher's sister. Now, that is basically the entire trailer. So, yeah. Anyway, of course, we have, you know, the end of the road begins, blah, 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 and in cinemas soon. The movie comes out in May. I'm very, very excited for this. And yeah, if you did enjoy this, like, weird-ass video, I never do trailer breakdowns, but if you did enjoy this, leave a like, subscribe, and goodbye.